All right. Okay, tonight we're just doing design work, and I'm going to be working on a design. Let's see if I'm head down. All right. Probably should move the camera eventually, but here we are. Get some more light in here. Tonight we're just working on design for a lamp, pretty much, and I want it to be themed in the same way that I theme a lot of things here, which is based off of nature. So this lamp, getting some lag there. It's me searching on the internet is not doing it any favors. Okay, we got a bit of a interference there, but that's okay. So what I'm trying to accomplish here is to make a lamp that is kind of themed in Joshua Tree. That is where I live, and that is what I want to create. With any lamp, you need your basic structure. So you're gonna have a base. This might be too big of a base. I'll refine this more as time goes on, but for now, base, center, probably a little higher. Just bring that up, all the way to the top. It's a little bit difficult to see. Drawn pretty thin, but if this is our floor, be where the beginning of it is. So Joshua trees, they are pretty stout little things. So we're going to go a little thinner, give it a bit of a base. Round at the bottom. Bring it up just a little bit. This might be a little bit shorter than our actual design, but that is okay. I'm doing everything freehand, and I'm not much of a freehand drawer here. This is just about design work. Just doing this just in my house just because I find it fun, but it's not a carving episode. Just listen to music and going along with it. Sometimes I like to draw just circles just to see how just Just to see how something might look. It helps me visualize from the three-dimensional field what I am working with. Maybe that limb's a little funky. Might be better just to do this all 2D for now. Just put them at different heights. The thing about Joshua tree limbs is they're just not organized. Or know how they're gonna curve or bend sharply. Give this one a little bit more curve. This is just a 4-lamp. Top one just being a little bit higher. I'm gonna have some kind of egg sphere at the top. This one's going to be outward. We have a bit of a Joshua tree kind of looking lamp here. Looks very cactusy. I think this is getting the essence of what I want. And somewhere in here there's going to be just a little bulb. It's going to be lighting up this whole thing. Each one of these limbs. It's going to be a bulb. It's always going to be in the same spot, so everything else is just going to be built around that particular shape. So I have these couple of pieces. Now I'm going to make this a Joshua tree, but also just break out. Also makes sense as far as a lamp goes. Kind of interesting concept, but I don't know if that would actually work. I think a lot of designing is just drawing and redrawing, erasing, and that's okay. It's not always the point. This isn't even carving. Nope, this is not carving. This is just me drawing because it is raining and I wasn't able to get into the shop today. But because the YouTube algorithm is cruel, and so if you don't do things consistently, even if it's not exactly what you were planning on doing, you will get blacklisted. So here I am, doing the work to keep the viewers, to continue to build a brand online. Yeah, but I am designing a lamp, and just this is the rough draft. Excuses. Yeah, I should have been prepping this yesterday, huh? Probably. But right now, that's how it goes. I'm making a lamp. And I'm trying to make it not look like a air filter. I want it to look kind of adjacent to a Joshua tree. But if I put these splines in here. I guess it probably wouldn't look like an air filter once I actually built it. Probably. Give it a little chain to click on and off. Live stream peak. Yeah. You can play right now. Can you play right now? You can play at 7:30. No peak tonight, unfortunately. Just get to listen to me talk about designing furniture. I got a shower, but yeah. Well, I have to get out of this house around 8. So I can definitely cut this short because Jordan, you are the only person here. We can continue to discuss this. This build would either look really cool or really creepy. And I'm not really too sure what yet. Maybe if I give it points. No, it's just gonna look like a crazy witch. I just mismatched them. That might be a dangerous. Kind of looking more and more Joshua Tree ish. Let's open this out just a skosh. Yeah, starting to look a little bit more Joshua Tree ish. A pretty large base. Okay. Well, for now, let's stick with that, and I'll start to add the actual details. Some differences. Gonna get out a little fine Sharpie. Start making this thing look more. Actually want it to look do like this process of building furniture, especially new pieces, where it is more not really focusing too much about the rules of what you're building, just thinking about something and trying to bring that to life in a drawing before actually bringing it to life as a piece of material. I've never built a wood piece of furniture like this before, with electricity going through it. I wonder if it's going to be a fire hazard. Only one way to tell, and that way is to send it off to an unsuspecting client, telling them that it is perfectly safe. And then, if their house burns down, I'll know that I need to remake the design a bit. And that confession might bite me in the ass if I'm ever in court for accidentally burning down someone's house, because YouTube records everything. I'm not an arson, I swear. Maybe I'll just claim that this is a comedy show. Seems to work for a lot of people. Got the light bulbs in there, the little chains. Yes. Chains hanging down. Okay. I'm gonna think about grain of the wood. Oh. Well, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate the blast. I don't know where my big eraser is. Oops. Got some pieces there. Didn't even put a bulb in this one. You know, I think this piece is just creepy enough that it might actually... Hey, welcome to the chat. I am designing a maybe slightly creepy lamp, and I'm basing it off of Joshua trees. And I was just thinking about what kind of customer would buy a lamp like this. And I know that I would keep something like this in my house because I'd probably make it look cool. But I think this would be an interesting piece of furniture for sure. Just gonna draw some grains. Grain direction. This piece has some character. Because if I was making this out of walnut, which I would make this out of walnut, definitely have a lot of figure in it. Just like this. At least that would be the hope. Be a lot down here. It'll probably look a little bit like that. Pretty light. Alright, it's starting to kind of look like something. I'm just going to give it a good shade of kind of brown. Oh, I don't know if I have a darker brown with me right now. Alright, I'm going to get a little bit of a mix here. I'm just giving it some color so it'll give me an idea if this is actually going to look how I want it to look. Once it's done, I'm sure if I ever get the chance to build this, it'll still look significantly different than what I'm actually building now. Maybe not too crazy different, but it'll look different. Having these little underclings here. I'll probably have a little bit of shade, a little bit of shadow. So definitely have a bit more if they're away from the light. A little bit darker. Maybe if I ever build this, I won't make it look so gothic. Maybe I'll use a lighter wood. Or that'll just be creepier. Not getting too hung up on any particular line. Just trying to get it all out there. Oh, you got a lot of... The trunk is sick. Thank you. Thank you, Bambo. Just read my text. Looks great. Tough to translate into wood. Yeah, it is a little bit... I would have to choose... Ish says tough to translate into wood. And yes, I would have to really kind of find a piece that has a lot of figure, or I could even... do these kind of interesting like chips into the wood. I'm not really too sure about it yet. This is just something that I was thinking about today. This is the initial concept of what it would look like. Giving off a little bit more warmth in this area. I don't think these like finer colors really come out that well. I'm just gonna go heavy on it. Does that come out? Yeah. Just so that it actually shows up. A bit brighter there. Oh yeah, that shows up a lot better. You're just getting to see me doodle. Very unique. Yeah, Life is Good says, I really like how the shades mimic the Joshua Tree greenery. And that is kind of what I'm going for, is that this is going to look Joshua Tree-esque, and these will make it so you're not looking directly at the light, but it still has this reminiscence of what a Joshua tree looks like. It's going to be a very desert-inspired piece. Okay, good little like starting off here. So after I finish doing something like this, where I get the initial design done, is when I start to zoom in a little bit on the different pieces and actually start to conceptualize how I would actually make them. And so right now I am going to zoom in on just one of the shades and kind of look a little bit closer at it. And I'm not doing wood carving today because it has been monsooning the last 2 days, and so I have not been able to get into the shop to cut down any pieces to make them actual carvable. But I was gonna either work on cactuses or another critter, and if there are any critters of the desert or anywhere you live that you'd like me to carve, I would be willing to do that. But this is more just a impromptu show to keep my YouTube algorithm alive. Okay, so for a piece like this, let's start off with just a cylinder base. Just kind of a wood hockey puck almost. Draw a hole in the middle. That is where I would put a bit for the light bulb. And then what I think I would do is I would actually cut out notches into the wood. We're just going to ignore that light bulb is there for now. And this is also not a general perfect scale of this by any means. It's just to help me conceptualize how I would actually build this when I ever do want to build it. And because that is all messy, I am going to come back with a bit of a Sharpie and just bring in the actual lines I want to keep. And then I am going to get rid of all the ones that I don't want to keep. We are going to draw around our friendly little circle here, connecting all our little lines. Okay. So now I should be left with just a gear looking piece. Missed a couple pieces there, but that's okay. Yeah, it's not pretty, but it is our gear. And this will be the base of where the shade connects to the actual post of the Joshua tree. Okay. Creepy. May I suggest... Ish says, creepy. May I suggest deadwood? I don't know what deadwood is. And maybe driftwood? I really like how the shades mimic the greenery. Sepia-colored light bulbs. Yeah, I would probably go with a lighter or warmer light. I wouldn't go with something like I have here in my little studio where it's a white light. I would go with something that's a bit warmer, a bit more cozy. Alright, so I'd have the gear, and then what I would do is these would probably be uniform gears shaped, or the little divots. I would also cut out some kind of just square pointed piece. Kind of look a little bit something like this. And I would just add them in. And this is, I probably won't do the whole thing right now because it'll start to get really messy trying to draw this all in. Making them all random, probably having them fall out at different angles. I think the idea is kind of there. And then have them just different degrees away from the gear itself. And I might even put just a wood band to connect them all. But I think if this gear is long enough, I can get 2 screws into these pieces and just have them sit there open. Bamboo. Deadwood is how cowboys used to swear. Yes, cowboys. Tim says cowgirls too. Alright, so that's pretty straightforward. I think the gear piece would be pretty easy connecting it to the actual tree itself. Just be a couple screws. The bulb would sit in here. I'm not going to go in this with, I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use green. That's what I would hope it would look like, but I don't think it will. I probably wouldn't use sharp points either, just easy kind of squared off edges. I think if I had that, I would end up poking myself. This already feels like a hazardous lamp. Okay, the bulb will go in the middle. Just using some colors just to get an idea of where everything is. Wow, that green really does not come out in the camera. It's pretty vibrant here. Okay, so now I have this. This will be a tough shape to cut, but I'm sure I'll figure it out in time. Bambo says, dead, dying, diseased, deadwood. Your choice. Deadwood? Do you know how cowboys used to swear? I did not know how cowboys used to swear. I've never heard a cowboy call someone deadwood or dying or diseased or anything like that. Alright. So I have this piece. We have our grain. Yeah, Okay, that's all right. I'm not a huge fan of this piece that kind of looks like a square or a little cookie connecting directly to the tree itself. I think that looks a little bit off. Let's see how this actually connects. Alright, it's pretty seamless. I can't believe I forgot about that. You could use any choice of these words as long as you let them know they're dead or they're gonna die. Dead, deadsies, deadwood. Your choice. What was the third one? Deadwood or deadsies? Okay, it looks a bit more seamless. And how this connects. So when I think about how this piece translates to that, kind of have these. Just gonna get rid of some of this. It'll have this kind of cone shaped that comes down to the actual bit of the tree line. Because this is like this, pointing up. Maybe I can do a little. That might be a little ambitious. It makes sense in a two-dimensional world, but in a three-dimensional world, this would be a very complicated piece to make. Could probably also just do a bit of a cone. Just link it up. I mean, this piece is going to be confusing to make anyways. I'll think more on that. Oh, hey, Jeremiah. Yeah, you're catching me. I do this critters and carving every week on Tuesdays, but it's monsoon in here at Joshua Tree. And so, to keep up with my YouTube algorithm, I am just doing a little bit of design work for some dream projects that I hope to build someday. And this one is it's just a lamp. And it's based around the Joshua Tree, so using a little bit of nature to provide some insight into some designs. And I'm going over that process, and I'll be going around that process for another couple minutes. But welcome. If you join other weeks, we usually do a competition, and there's prizes, but just not today. So next Tuesday, join, and we will be giving away some kind of carved prize. But it's good to see you here. Alright. Well, I don't really know how I'm going to connect this piece, our tree stem, to the actual shade of this piece, but maybe it'll come in time. There's a bit of a saying in woodworking is that the wood will tell you what it wants to be, and you just kind of have to listen. And so when I get to this point, I will get a better idea of how the wood actually wants to connect. And that'll give me an idea. Another set of downward, Jeremiah says, another set of downward spikes might fit the theme and masking the transition. Like another smaller set might be kind of cool. I could, how could I do that? So now I'm starting to think about the actual way that I'm going to build this. And so before I get into how I'm going to connect this, it might be a better idea to show how I'm actually going to build this whole thing. And so to get this round stem, I'm going to move on to the other side, or I'll just move on to a second piece of paper. To get this round stem, I'm going to start by taking a single piece of wood and cutting it into 4 different pieces. Just like this, maybe a bit tighter. I'm going to cut it into 4 different pieces using long miters and make these kind of large beams. And so these will be glued in with splines, and then I will carve away the outside of each piece with hand planes, with spoke shaves, with grinders, different pieces. And that will leave me with a cylinder that also has a hole in the middle. And that's important because I'm going to need some way to actually run the wiring for the light bulbs. And so given that, that's a bit of like a background of why it might be complicated to connect this piece here to the actual shutter itself, and why it's going to be difficult to add things onto this piece because they're going to be large pieces with only a little bit of material between the shell and the core. But given that, now we can ponder how to do it. Okay. Tim, make the plane, the top smooth with smaller inner circles selection that go to the top. We plane the top smooth with a smaller inner circle section that continues to the top. Can you reword that, Tim, a bit? I'm having a hard time understanding what you're saying. But it sounds like the ideas are flowing. Plane the top section smooth. With a smaller inner circle section that goes to the top. Are you talking about like adding a second gear underneath this one? So we have a cylinder. What we are looking to create is another set of spikes heading down. Moving up from this one. It's a crude drawing, but I'm also down to a few more minutes left in this. Like an inner dowel. Smooth. No, but the gear ideas. Oh, like, oh, I understand what you're saying. Okay, we're gonna go to another sheet of paper. Okay. So, instead of having a gear, that would make it a lot easier. I think I understand what you're saying. Instead of having a gear, this is where our light bulb will be. I'm getting a little rushed. Sorry, my circles are getting worse. So our light bulb is right here in the middle of our little hockey puck. And instead of doing a gear, doing like circles just drilled into it. Like this, and then making dowels that poke out in spikes. Is this what you're talking about? And then I think that goes back to Jeremiah's idea too, because then I can also, if I do that, it'll be more of a seamless look. I can add a bit of a curve here, do 2 cookies, and then have one with a smaller set of spikes coming off the bottom of it. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. All right, is this coming out? Okay. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, I think I understand. So I do like this idea. This makes it a lot simpler than the gear idea. Is instead of making a gear like we have here, instead making 2 cookies like this, and then just drilling holes all over it, all kind of facing a little bit outwards, and then sticking in the pieces of the Joshua Tree spines into those pieces, and then doing the same thing on the bottom, which will give me a continuous piece of wood in the middle that will give more of a seamless transition, and that will give the downward facing spikes like Jeremiah suggested, and allowing a kind of more seamless piece. Okay, I'm into it. I'm gonna add this. See? Look at this. It's already helping my design process. Amazing what having a few more heads does to being able to work. Alright. Original design. Okay, we're gonna try to get this nice and dark. Look at that. Okay. And that still allows me to work. That was good. Maybe mixed material wooden trunk and galvanized metal fittings for the branches and wooden shades. Kind of like mixing up the amount of... Will I do a part 2? What do you want to see in a part 2? Yeah, I think especially for like the wooden shades, this will be a pretty dark piece if I don't mix up the materials. And if we like kind of look at this Joshua tree here, zoom this in. Like, the Joshua tree is not a totally one color thing, and it might be kind of cool to do, especially the spines of this piece. Especially the spines of this piece, to do maybe more of them, but have them a bit smaller, and giving them a variety of different materials. It'll probably give less light to go through, but I think this is more of an artistic light shade anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. That is it for this one. If you want to see a part 2, it'll probably be if I ever get the chance to build this. If you or anyone else is interested in something like this, reach out to me and we can make some kind of deal. But today I was just talking about designs that I'm interested in building at some point in the future, and so I'm just going to put this one right here in a portfolio with a couple of the designs that I've made for it, and it's gonna sit there until a later date. But right now I'm just gonna take some notes on this and end the live stream. Ish says, will there be a part 2 and more design creation and a lot of good ideas today? Yeah, I think I'll probably do this intermittently. If there isn't any critters and carving to be doing, I'm almost done with that chessboard, so that's getting to the end of it anyways. And also, I don't get too much time to build these kind of projects that I want to build, and so I need to find some way to market this. And Tim, you got your honey badger, and that was the first reward for the critters and carving, was that honey badger. And in this last 2 minutes, what are y'all considering? What animal have you always been curious about? The life, the habitats, anything that lives near you that we have not talked about on this show. I am interested in carving. And so until then, until I get another idea, I will just decide for myself. But with that, people, that is the end of the show. Thank you for the help today. Thank you for sitting in. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you. And I hope you have a good night. The desert toad. Okay. Put a little list in. The peacock. Alright, people. That's it for me, and I hope you have a good night.